So we were not interested in doing anything whatsoever in the gym or running that was going to train our body to want to move slower.
Wouldn't there have been a lot of athletes who went through exactly what you went through from high school to the combine who might not have survived that training?
I don't think that a lot of people couldn't survive the mental demand that Jay placed on you. And really, um, it took a big psychological toll to commit to that kind of training. And I think a lot of people showed up and thought, or a lot of parents brought their kids there and said, well, Adam got these results, but the kid wasn't as invested as I was, right? Just total commitment that you're going to do whatever. And again, Jay will test you emotionally and psychologically, and quite honestly, especially in today's climate, with the way I think kids get coddled, people wouldn't put up with it. I'll give you an example. The very first day that he said that I could train with them, it was 6 months after I met him. And it was so we were in the middle of June here in Arizona. So it was 114 degrees out, and we were going to train at a track and do a track workout. And that was a black tar track on a 114-degree day. It was at 2:00 in the afternoon. And so I was ready to show this guy that, hey, I've got what it takes. I'm going to, blow him away with my work ethic. And so I show up and I was late because I couldn't find it. And so I join in, and it was fine, not a big deal. And then he said, okay, you have to do what they did before you got here. And it was pretty simple. It was 3 200-meter sprints. You walk to the start line, right? And you do 3 200-meter sprints. I did the first one. The second one, my legs gave out and I started throwing up, right? And I was rolling around the grass, throwing up, just dying. I probably laid on the ground for about 15 minutes. And then when I got up, they had all left me. Like they just left me there just to die, I guess. Right. And so
Right.
I had to peel myself up, and I said, man, I can't believe they left me. Nobody said a word to me. They just left me rolling around on the ground. And so as I walk in the gym, and the first thing he says is, did you finish? And I said, well, no, I thought I was going to die. And then he just went up at me again. Look, you don't have what it takes. This is our very first workout. So again, the mental, he kicked me out of the gym multiple times. I had to show up the next day and like at 6 a.m. and wait there for an hour. Like Jay made you emotionally commit to wanting to be the best. And I don't think people would do that. Here's what happened though. When a lot of people came to work out, especially professionals, their body started feeling better. They started to move better. They got faster. They thought, oh my God, like this is awesome, right? We had guys like that's generally the feeling that people got when they came to train. Yes, it seemed like a lot of volume. And again, the volume decreased as we became professionals. But generally speaking, it's amazing, but people's bodies and the injuries I would say would be the predominant feeling that people get when they train with Jay. So it kind of goes against maybe conventional wisdom. They're not just, and especially today, they're not just beating down the body, consistently beating down the body, right? Like kind of I did in the early years.
And I think that is a product of focusing on the CNS. That CNS training. I tell people that when kids come to my workouts, they leave in a way feeling better than they felt when they walked in. That lit up CNS is almost like a caffeinated effect where you feel healthy and you just feel better.
Well, it's again, I don't want to put words in Jay's mouth. It's nervous system, He could care less about how big you get, but it's nervous system and then training in the correct movement patterns so your muscles are used properly. To me, it's the combination of those two um, that really I would say is the focal point of what he does, not just about sets and reps. It's not about sets and reps, but
Right.
the body moving and getting rid of all your compensation patterns that you've developed so you can move the way you were meant to move. I think that's where he really shines.
Yeah, when you talk about getting the body back and getting rid of the bad stuff and everything, and then also he was a big believer in breathing as well, and you know that breathing and resetting the body goes right along with Chris Korfist's reflexive performance reset stuff, where it's breathing. He also did some some hands on the body work, right? Some massage type stuff, certain spots, didn't he?
Not he's big. He really is a big believer and the proponent now of his POV training, the electrical stimulation that they've developed. That's I would say that's probably where he mostly feels like that's his niche and that's his baby, using that. So again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would say it's all about the brain body connection, right? So when you ask your muscles to do a certain task, they work and they work properly and they work at length, right? They don't work in a contracted state. So
Right.
again, Jay has gone in his direction of training, and I can't claim to be an expert on the what and the whys of what he's doing these days. I can only talk about kind of what I did um, in kind of those early years in my experiences.
Yeah. How much did you sprint?
Well, we in the early years, we actually I felt like we sprinted quite a bit, a few times it just depended on the time of year. It was I actually looked forward to the track workouts. And he was big on overspeed training. Um but yeah, I don't know exactly how many times, maybe once a week in the early years. Um as we got older and in the NFL years, it became a little bit less. I enjoy sprinting. I wish we would have sprinted a little bit more. Um, but people were pretty astonished about the lack of running that we did training. And I think what they were astonished was we didn't do that high volume, you know, conditioning nonsense that people do, but yet we were always in shape and able to play a full game. Right. So there was zero um, distance work or conditioning work because we believe that that slows down the nervous system and you essentially you detrain yourself. And so we were not interested in doing anything whatsoever in the gym or running that was going to train our body to want to move slower.